Do you think that things are getting better with time, or do you think it's pretty much at a standstill and it's still good businesses doing things well, and just in general with everything and
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because, like, I think it's a very like case by case basis. Some businesses are going, above and beyond, and I think that's super beautiful. And some businesses also have like other major urgent, like when I think of like teams are going through like major turbulence, turnover, like sometimes you have to focus on like what you have to do to survive, and I totally understand that. So like I don't know, like I think in general, I think that the hair and beauty industry as a whole for me has always felt a very like good place to be in, no matter what, no matter when, at what part of my life, just because we're in a business of transformation to begin with, right? Like we're helping people feel good, look great. We're asking questions, we're curious, and I think that's the root of like building those connections and
I know. I mean, I did an interview a while ago, which again will be a great one to go back and watch, with Amy Bates, who's got Beauty Rebellion. And that was very much around body consciousness of, like in spas again come under like, the criticism about the size of robes and things like that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Because I mean, I've had it before, where I've gone and, at some points I've been a lot heavier than I am now. And you go and you've got a robe that like just barely touches kind of thing, and it's so again, like I know a lot of people who are slightly larger who won't go to spas just in case that happens, where they're given a robe which is the wrong size, or they have a robe that's one size fits all, which just doesn't, and it's the same with someone who's quite slight as well, if they're just given this humongous thing to put on. So there's all different aspects, isn't it, of like you just got to really, really drill down into all of the different things that can make someone feel comfortable and uncomfortable. So the course that you've been doing, what is that then, Alex?
Yeah, I can talk about that. I just wanted to like bring it back just before I get into that, because I think you mentioned something, that's super interesting, and you mentioned earlier like nobody's perfect, and I think that's super important to like reinstate and name. No one's perfect. Like we all have room to, like, we just took both of us like an example of the spas, and I'm not knocking spas, like,
no,
in no way, because I think like no matter where you're at, whether you're a person, an organization, a business, like I think we all have like infinite room to grow. I think it's just a matter of taking the time to like slow down, to think about, okay, what is the client journey right now? And like where do we have gaps? Like taking the time to breathe and just like, okay, let's go it bit by bit, getting people who are experiencing the client journey, the experience, to give feedback, to share how they're feeling, to invite them into the conversation, to be like, how would you like to be greeted, or how, like, what would make your experience like amazing before you even stepped into the salon? Because I think it begins there. It begins before you even step into the salon or the spa or the clinic, like whatever the business you're walking into. So I think like, we all have room to go. No one's perfect. And it's a continuous commitment, actually.
Yeah. But it is, I mean, I think we all forget with our businesses, when someone's standing outside, coming in is that first big step. We know it's like lovely, friendly, everyone. Someone who's never been in the salon before, or, is that timid kind of person that like they don't know whether someone's going to jump on them, sell to them, or exactly what's going to happen. So, on our website, we have like a client walking in, and it shows them coming into the reception, and
I love that so much.
And and sitting down and getting spoken to and things. And it's just it's just a 1 minute video, but it shows someone from like actually standing outside. And what I want to do is actually, and I keep saying this, and I haven't got round to it yet in about the 6 months I've been talking about. What I want to do is, because we've got media screen in the window, I want to have it where that's actually playing, so someone can see from outside what happens when they actually walk through that door.
Oh my God, amazing.
Because
that would be cool.
It is, that door is a big barrier to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that is why, things like video on social media and things, and showing, yes, that your suppliers do great videos of like products and things. That's still not the same as a team member talking and someone seeing part of a treatment or something. I think these videos are so important, just so that someone can feel that connection before they actually come in.
Yeah. Even in consultation forums, honestly, like, is there any needs, anything that like we haven't, because, I feel like consultation forums, especially I think about the ones that we can have in Phorest, like you can build them, right? So like you can kind of customize them and stuff. But so there's room to ask more questions about like the actual experience, and like, is there anything that you might need that we might not be aware of? And, just the matter of taking the time to ask.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, though, because clients love to feel part of something. They love to feel like we're always surveying and asking questions about clients. And, the thing is, because a lot of time, otherwise it's guesswork. You're guessing what a client wants, instead ask them.
They're in the best position to say.
And they love to, especially when something that they have said, and goes back to Phorest as well. When someone wants something in Phorest, make those changes. It's the same in your business, that, when a client has said that they've given you an idea, and then you bring that in, and it's like, oh yeah, like it's because I said about that, kind of thing. And clients just love to, as I say, to be able to feel part of something rather than just being a person walking in. It's
makes a world of difference.
And it doesn't take that much. And it's a good few years ago that I wrote the little book of client retention, and that was just like 50 little things that you can do just to make someone feel a little bit more special and a little bit more part of something. And it's just an accumulation of those little things.
Yes.
And listening and learning.
Yeah.
Like we've said, and yes, you'll always get things wrong, because nobody's going to be perfect. But as well, I think you've just got to be ever evolving as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I think that's why, and I see that's where AI can help. Yeah. It's not going to replace anyone, but like it can remember the things that we might forget.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That make that huge difference to someone.
Exactly.
So,
But to answer your question, like the course that I'm taking, I mean, it's an 8-week course on. It's called Where We Belong.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a 8-week facilitation and space holding course around belonging. So each week of those 8 weeks, or almost each of them, because there's week 7 and 8 is like project week, and then 8 is the closing. As we're recording this, like this week is the closing week for me. I presented my project last week, just before the summit actually, and it was beautiful. It was such a beautiful experience. But so like we looked at, oh my goodness, the reminder for the medication. We looked at like what is designing for belonging? What does that look like? How does that feel like? What were my experiences, like what I was talking about, like my lineages of belonging? Where do I feel what's my earliest memories of like, you know, being in a space where I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
And where did I maybe like feel in spaces like, ooh, I don't fit in here at all, and why, and just like reflecting on like, why has that been the case? Then we also talked about, you know, how everyone comes in a room with different histories, backgrounds, like, you know, baggage, triggers, like there's so much that we don't know when someone walks into a room about them, and they might not always feel comfortable to share, like, so understanding that and like taking that into consideration. And that comes kind of back to like the idea with the consultation, like, is there anything we might need to know to help make your experience feel, you know, a lot better, essentially. You can think about like accommodations or accessibility, all that kind of stuff, right? But then we also talked about like, well, there's a module that I actually remember the title because it was so impactful to me, but the poetics of facilitation, like the importance of using like what language you use and your intentionality in that, the designing of the spaces, even just like the way that we design, like interior design, or like place, like if we're doing an event, like how is everyone sitting, like what is the seating arrangement, like how does that like create a space where people feel like they can share, open up, you know? And like it's very extensive, and it's been honestly absolutely a beautiful experience. I've been learning so much. It's, you know, again, it comes back to like that growth mindset value in Phorest, but I do feel like it's something that I've always been so you know, on it. Like I've always cared so much about just growing as a person, being more curious about like who I am becoming. I think like that's the thing, like I'm ever evolving, I'm ever becoming, I'm always forever writing that story for myself, and just like wanting to see what's next and what I can do more, and how I can serve better, and how I can hold space in rooms, especially in the context of like a podcast, for example. Like we're holding space for our guests all the time. So like, how do I make those experiences better?
But